Hi friends, how are you doing? So in this video, I'll be taking you through some key concepts that you need to understand that will help in your decision to determine what capacity of inverter or battery you would require. So what an inverter basically does is it draws the AC power from the power grid, okay, when there is electricity at home, and converts that AC power into DC power to charge the batteries, okay. And when there is a power cut, it converts the DC power stored in the battery into the AC power and supplies it to the appliances that are connected to it, okay, in the event of a power cut. So let's consider example wherein you need to run 3 fans, 3 tube lights, 1 laptop, 1 inverter fridge, and 1 LED TV. Okay, assuming that these appliances collectively take about 650 watts to run. Okay, um, how do you determine what inverter capacity you need? So the inverter capacity is nothing but the total watts required divided by the power factor. So what power factor is it's a ratio between the actual power to the apparent power. So inverters are never 100% efficient, right? So there's always loss in transmission. So most inverters are between 70% to 80%. Some inverters go up to 90%, 95% energy efficient. So considering an inverter is 80% energy efficient, the power factor would be 0.8. So that power factor, you need to divide the total watts with 650 divided by the power factor, which is 0.8. That comes to around 812.5. So that is the inverter capacity that you're looking for, 812.5 VA, okay, volt ampere. That is how the inverter capacity are measured in VA, right? So if you are requiring 812.5 VA, you can go for a, you always have a buffer. So you can go for a 900 VA inverter. Okay, so that's how you calculate what inverter you will require. Now this is only a rough approximation of how much watts your appliances need. If you take an example of incandescent light, okay, so the energy consumption is quite high, the watts are quite high when you compare it with the compact fluorescent light, that is CFL, and the LED lights still consume further less watts. So depending upon what kind of light you're using, your consumption of watts would vary a lot, actually, from 12 or from 5 watt to 70 watt it can vary, actually. So you need to first check what kind of tube lights or bulbs that you're using. Secondly is the fans, okay. So depending upon the speed at which it is rotating, it is consuming that many watts. So depending upon what type of fan you have, okay, that will also determine how much watts is required. A typical ceiling fan would consume between 60 to 75 watts. But if you consider, take an example of atom fans, they have a very low watts consumption. It can go as low as 20 watts, actually. So huge difference can be noticed or made if the right appliances are fit in your home, the power efficient appliances. Now the inverter determines how much load it can support. All right, now what does the battery do? How many hours the inverter can support that load is what the battery determines. The battery backup, basically. In our previous example, we saw that you require 650 watts, okay, to run the appliances at home. Now if you want to run that for say 3 hours, okay, 650 into 3 is 1950. So 1950 watt hours is what you require, okay. Now most of the batteries in India, inverter batteries in India, provides a 12 volt current output. So you need to basically divide 1950 by 12. That gives a number of 162. Okay, so you need a battery which is more than 162 Ah, that is ampere hour. So it's the amount of ampere that it provides per hour, it's Ah. Okay, so you can go for a battery capacity which is around 170 or 180 or even 200 Ah. So there is always some buffer that needs to be kept. So that's how you determine the battery capacity. When you talk about inverters, there are different kinds of inverters, primarily square wave and sine wave. Square waves are basically used to run motors, okay, but it is not sensitive to our appliances like oven or iron, hair dryer, laptop, fridge, fan, tube light. So the square wave inverter are not fit enough to they are not sensitive enough for these appliances. So and they also make quite some noise. So that is where the pure sine wave inverters comes into picture, and that's what is most preferred and most used in the home inverter setup. Of all the available brands in the inverters and battery segment like Exide, VGuard, Microtech and Luminous, I decided to go with Luminous because it's one of the most trusted brands in both the segments, and it's been here for quite some time. And I've also had a previous good experience with inverters of Luminous a few years ago. I chose Luminous Celio 1100i smart inverter because it can also be operated with your smartphone using Bluetooth. Its capacity is 900 VA, the efficiency is 84%, the rated output power is 756 watt. And as far as battery is concerned, I went ahead with the Luminous Red Charge 18000, which is a 150 Ah tall tubular battery. So yeah, there have been frequent power cuts in our areas of late, and it was quite annoying to have frequent network disruptions where your entire work is based on internet in this work from home scenario. And yeah, that led to my decision to have one inverter and battery installed, and it's quite a nice experience. I mean, I never need to worry about power cuts anymore. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.